Our duty is to preserve what the past has had to say for itself, and to say for ourselves what shall be true for the future. These 26 words are the sum of the beliefs of Historic Milwaukee. Historic Milwaukee is a nonprofit educational and architectural preservation organization dedicated to increasing the public's awareness of Milwaukee's architecture and history. To accomplish this, Historic Milwaukee provides innovative, responsive programs and builds partnerships with civic, corporate, and community members. Historic Milwaukee brings walking tours, student tours, slideshows, panel discussions, and our annual neighborhood open house tour, Spaces and Traces, to the community. At Historic Milwaukee, we like to ask questions. What is a building to a passerby? Does it have a voice? Is a neighborhood more than the sum of its parts? Is there a reason why we are here, why we build here? Who decides which of those places endure, which fade away? Who gives these places meaning? Historic Milwaukee believes each individual can establish this meaning through an educated and empowered dialogue, the practice of which compels action. Envision the downtown skyline today, including the once famous Northwestern Railroad Depot. From 1889 to 1968, the depot and its Romanesque tower dominated Milwaukee's lakefront. The demolition of the depot in 1968 convinced fledgling preservationists that it was time to join forces. In 1978, the Pabst Mansion was saved, and by that time, Milwaukee was strong on historic preservation. Through the effort of a concerned group of citizens, a portion of the Walker's Point neighborhood was listed as Milwaukee's first historic district on the National Register for Historic Places in 1978. The group's educational and preservation efforts caught on and spread to other neighborhoods throughout the city. The group became Historic Milwaukee. In 2001, architectural historian Nancy Hubbard challenged the citizens of Milwaukee to get educated, get committed, and get out there. If you believe this is something you should do, you have to get out there working before there is a crisis. Preservation requires attention and vigilance. Historic Milwaukee embodies this responsibility, sharing it with all those who cherish our historic city and the values of our communities. Our built environment gives us a story we can literally touch today. Let's teach each other through it. We are Historic Milwaukee. Come walk with us.
Since 1893, presidents, dignitaries, rock stars, and sports celebrities, as well as common travelers of all sorts, have graced the Pfister Hotel. We think of hotels as usually used for fleeting stays, short-term meetings, or last-minute lodging. The Pfister itself is anything but fleeting or short-term in its long-standing presence in Milwaukee. Its historic building and evolving business, like right and left hands, are substantial contributions to Milwaukee's cultural life and continue to flourish expansively. The 115 years since the Pfister first opened its doors have witnessed thousands of stories. Individual memories have been created in the hotel, all with their own meanings to guests and employees alike. The hotel has affected countless lives, and through them, the city in which those lives are lived. World War II was winding down when I was granted a 5-day furlough from the U.S. Army and came home to Milwaukee to marry my fiancée Dorothy on Thanksgiving Day, November 26, 1942. We chose the best place to stay in Milwaukee, the Pfister Hotel, for our wedding night. For that night, the Pfister was our own world, without a war going on or anyone telling me when to muster out. The next morning, when we went to check out of our room, I paid the bill of a whopping $7.70. Since splurging on our honeymoon stay at the Pfister Hotel, we eventually returned to live in Wauwatosa, where we raised 3 children. Now 92 years old and married for 66 years, we still have the receipt and our memories from our wedding night at the Pfister Hotel.
Every time I drive past the Pfister Hotel, I think of my best friend's birthday party that took place in 1950 when we were 10 years old. The invitation said it was a swimming party, and since my friend and I lived near Lake Michigan in Racine, I assumed we were going swimming in the lake. So I wore blue jeans and an old t-shirt and brought my swimming suit along. My friend's mother had me change into a dress before we got into the car and began driving toward Milwaukee. My confusion turned to surprise and delight when we arrived at the Pfister Hotel to find a decorated party table and the indoor swimming pool waiting for us. We swam to our heart's content and had a wonderful meal. I will never forget that unexpected and special birthday party. It was the surprise of my life.
In 2005, I was informed by my senior management team that there would be a special event that would be held at the Pfister Hotel. I was told that I had to be there, that my family would be flying in from around the country, and the event was strictly for employees. I arrived at the grand ballroom to a sea of familiar faces, employees past and present. It was one of the most wonderful evenings I have ever had in my life. My assistant and good right arm, Mike Mervis, had taken a film crew and traveled throughout the country talking to employees about how they felt about the company and what role I had played in their professional and personal growth. There were some wonderful stories, both humorous and sad. The evening's theme, which was "Thank You, Joe," meant more to me than I could ever describe. I have been to many events at the Pfister over the years. I have joined friends there for dinner, weddings, and to celebrate other special occasions. But that night in June of 2005 was one of the greatest nights of my life. The Pfister Hotel put its arms around Zilber and her employees and gave us all a big hug. And that's why, to me, the Pfister is more than a historical building. It is the heart and very often the soul of our great city.
On May 1st, 1994, my husband and I were married at the Miller Pavilion overlooking the lakefront. It was a glamorous but simple affair on a Sunday afternoon. After the ceremony, we had a toast followed by an hors d'oeuvre reception. After the reception, family and close friends joined us at the bar in the Pfister lobby and continued the celebration. We enjoyed the cozy lounge, inviting decor, and pleasant hotel staff, and were even treated to a song or two on the piano. 15 years later, we still celebrate with a toast at the Pfister Hotel, joined by friends and family.
I consider it lucky that in 1914, Northwestern Mutual's leaders built its company headquarters down the street from the Pfister Hotel. Over the years, the Pfister has been an excellent home to our financial representatives when they come into town for business. The Pfister is undeniably the best hotel in Milwaukee. You should be very proud that it is so well managed and has such a strong reputation. The only problem I see is that when people from out of town talk about it, they can't pronounce its name. Congratulations on being recognized by Historic Milwaukee. It's a fine honor for your family.
Historic Milwaukee now welcomes the Pfister Hotel's General Manager, Joe Kurth.